And I hope you're well. Welcome to the Business Clinic, a Q&A session to get you unstuck in your writing coaching business. My name is Anne and I am your host of today. I'm a writing coach. Sorry, I help writing coaches get more clients. It's not going to go well this morning. I feel it.
Oh.
If it is the first time you attend, feel free to raise your hand and introduce yourself. You can also drop your social media links and websites in the comments. And I really insist that you get in contact with each other and share those links. Who knows what kind of amazing collaboration you will get out of it. Today, you're very lucky because you don't have one coach, but you actually have two, because we also have Christie from Floor and Order who's present. And so Christie is a time management coach, and she organized similar sessions to mine, but they are focused on time management. So Christie, you can also drop your links in the comments. I think time management is also one of those things that we all really struggle with. So in the meanwhile that people are going to join us, I will go over the question that have been sent in by me. So if this is you and you have a question, but you can't attend the session in live, feel free to send me your question. I always make sure that I answer them during the session. So the first question I got comes from Mia. So Mia tells me, I don't like to see writing coaches ask for so much money. And I think many people think like me. What are your thoughts on affordability as a niche? So before we get into your question, Mia, the first thing that that came to mind for me was, why do you think that writing coaches ask for too much money? So is this a question because you don't dare to ask for that kind of money, or do you really think that it is really expensive? So there's no right or wrong here. You can be in the first case, you can be in the second case. But what came to mind is that if you're in the first case, which is you don't dare to ask for so much money, maybe you need to more work on your money mindset than rather on the affordability point. Now, if you really think that writing coaches are too expensive and that you want to be that affordable writing coach, you can totally use affordability as a point in your business. Now, affordability is not going to be your niche. To explain it very easily, I have a bit of a different idea on niche. So you have your target market. In our case, that's writers. Then you have your niche. That is, for example, your genre, thriller, or romance, paranormal. And then we have the ideal client. And this is where affordability will come in. So ideal client, this is what we call the customer persona. That can be, for example, you want to only work with moms, or you only want to work with people who are entrepreneurs, or in your case, you only want to work with people who are looking for an affordable writing coach. Now, a thing that comes to mind here, what exactly are you looking for in your ideal client with your affordability point? Do you want to work with people who can't afford you? Who can't afford a normal, or who can't afford a writing coach, to put it simply and diplomatically. So that, for example, can be a Gia Croakling in the beginning of her writer's career. She definitely could not afford a writing coach, or so is that the kind of people you want to work with? That can also be minorities, people who might not have access to these kind of services in other circumstances. Or do you want to work with people who actually really think that writing coaching is too expensive because they don't want to pay that kind of money? So you see, you will deal with two completely different mindsets and kind of people. So you will have to adapt your marketing to each of these as well. Affordability is also going to be a great differentiator for your brand. So if you go back to your, for example, a writing coach who wants to focus on thriller writers and stay-at-home moms, it means that for all the book writing coaches who are in that same niche and focus on the same ideal client like you will have this great differentiator saying, okay, I am the affordable writing coach for that kind of people. A last remark that I have is regarding your business model. So I always say that I don't work with hobbyists, but people who want to set up a financial viable company. It's not because you want to be an affordable writing coach that you should not be able to live off out of your business. So here you will, right from the start, have to put in place systems that compensate by the fact that you might not, for example, offer expensive one-to-one coaching, so maybe group coaching, online schools. You can also split your business in the sense that, for example, you do the group coaching and online schools as an affordable way to get access for you, and then the one-to-one you do it more expensively. Or you could put in place, for example, scholarships, saying, okay, you know, if you're the writing coach who if you are the writer who can afford a full paid package, I will offer another package half to another writer. You see, there's a lot of things you can do here with your business model, but the most important thing to keep in mind is that it's not because you offer something affordable that you should not be able to live off your business. So I hope that this tips and advice have been helpful for you. Feel free to let me know if I can help you with something else. I'm always at your disposal, of course. I see if no one else has joined us today. Again, if you have another question, even if you have a question, Christie, feel free to drop on and ask. So I have another question from someone who preferred to remain anonymous. So they have had a food blog for a couple of years, and now they're thinking to add book writing coaching specifically in the food sector as their service. But they are not sure if they would like to do this full-time or part-time because they're not ready to overhaul their entire business. So first of all, anonymous, there's no reason or obligation for you to overhaul your entire business and now become a food writing coaching business. You can just add this as an additional service and use it as a part-time. I'm going to send you a video that I'm recording on the pros and cons of having food writing, having writing coaching business as a part-time feature. So look out for that. But anyway, just to say, you can absolutely do that as a part-time. So one of the amazing things that you have is that you have a very niche focus block. So you focus on desserts, which is great, and which makes me think that probably you have a lot of people on your email list or following you on your social media that are in the same sector as well and might be interested in writing a book on desserts. So I would say, first of all, we're going to use that to have that first thing coming up. Because the thing now is just to get it out. So don't overthink it too much. If this is something you want to try out, if you can make a simple website page, you have one simple offer. For example, you can say, I have 4 sessions and we learn how to publish a cookbook. It's going to be an introductory price, set it out, and then you go and share with your email list and your social media accounts. So this, like you see, it's a very simple first step. It shouldn't take you that much time, but I'm sure that among the people that you're already talking to, there are people that might be interested in this. And then it's just signing up that first client. Ideally, you have 2 or 3 that come out of your emailing list or at your social media accounts. You start doing the coaching, and then you will very quickly see if this is something you like or you don't like. The main thing I would suggest to you is to really keep it simple. Don't overthink it. This is something you want to try out. You're not sure if this is going to work or not going to work. So just see if already for yourself you like it. Again, I think you really have a great niche already, so that is definitely going to help you with your writing coaching business and getting clients to sign up, especially that first client. So if you would like me to help you with this, or you have any other questions around this topic, feel free again to send me a message or give me an update. I'm at your disposal as always. Okay, let me see if okay, we had a little technical glitch. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I have a very last question that was asked by me by Lisa. So Lisa tells me, my BNA group said I need to offer my services to business and corporates as there is the money. How do I go around this and what should I offer? So for those who don't know what is BNE, BNE is a business networking group. You have BNE in every big city, and they group business owners and entrepreneurs together. So the idea is that they give themselves or each other in the group leads and referrals in order to build up your business. I have not been part of BNI, and I'm not a promoter, but this is just in case you're wondering what BNI is. First remark, Lisa, you don't need to go into B2B if that is not something that attracts you or that you're interested in. Don't feel obliged to do so. You can absolutely build up a successful writing coaching business just by doing one-to-one or group coaching programs and not having to interact with B2B. It's stay business to business. Now, however, it is true that B2B or business to business is more, like there's more money into there than in B2C. So B2C will grow up a little bit slower and will bring you less resources than if you start into B2B, where indeed there is more money. But the more money comes with other obligations and what I would say limitations. So if you go to B2B, big companies or governmental organizations as well, there's more administrative lump into that. Like you have to compete with other companies, you will have to convince them more, have more, for example, an entire explanation of what exactly you offer, where your prices come from. Depending on where you are, it also means that you might have to add taxes. So that's another additional cost. You're also not going to ask the same price to a business as you're going to an individual. I have worked with businesses when I was a networking coach. And like I said, yes, there's more money, but one thing that I saw is that I was more limited in what I could do with my coaches. If a business hires you, they hire you because they want you to offer a service that improve the abilities and the skills of their employees. So sometimes I had to, for example, coach my coachee and then give a feedback to the manager. So that kind of become a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you see that when you do coachee, there's an issue or there's something going on. I remember, for example, a client, I was hired by the business to work on her networking skills. And then throughout the conversation, I realized that it was not the networking skills that were the issue, but it was more her confidence that was the issue. But because you are blocked in that contact with your business, you have to work on, I had to work and to coach on the networking skills and not on the confidence skills. So that's things to keep in mind if you want to go down the road of business to business. Now, concretely, what could you offer? So you can offer very business-minded things. So I'm thinking, for example, about storytelling. That is something that works quite well in businesses. And actually, your question made me think about a book that I recently read, which is 10 Stories Great Leaders Tell. I put in the link down the video and for those who are interested. And this is actually, I think, a great inspiration if you're a writing coach and you're thinking to go into business. It can give you a couple of ideas on what kind of workshop you can do. For example, there's the founding story. So as a writing coach, this is the thing you do on a daily basis. Like you learn people to tell their book and their story. So that is a great one to do in business. There's also the ones who are less connected to your writing coaching skills. That can be, for example, written communications, how to write an email, or social communications, like how to get in contact with other people. So that can be in. Then another one, I haven't seen any writing coaching doing yet, but I do think that there can be a market for that one, is to do just things like journaling sessions, for example, or helping employees to write their book. Many more companies, especially now that COVID has passed by and that many more businesses are working from home, you can set up these kind of activities that they don't have a necessary objective, but it can be a part of the business of saying, we offer this kind of free flow sessions, and it can be a part for the business as a promotional thing for them. So there's of course a lot of things you can do here. If you need any other tips or advice, again, feel free to reach out. Well, actually, that were all my questions that I had for today. Maybe I was thinking, Christy, if you have like a time management tip or something else for writing coach, feel free to jump in. I'm putting you here on the spot, so don't don't feel obliged to do so.
What issue do you think they most struggle with in terms of time management?
The thing they most struggle with is definitely that most of my writing coaches, they are also writers. So writers, or they have another business, or they have like another job. So it might be very difficult to see how to set up their business, but keep time, for example, for their own creative activities or for their other full-time job.
Yeah, yeah. I would say observe when your brain works best for each of those zones, because I'd say they're pretty different zones. Like when do you and you can even look at your weekends as well, and like when works best for you to be creative versus when works for you to be in your business mindset and set your time up around that. Um, Especially in business, I think it's very easy to still think traditionally that we need to do
Mm.
it 9 to 5, whereas being in business, you have the whole um, yeah, like everything is available to you. You can work early morning, you can work late at night, whatever works for you best in your brain. So yeah, have a think about when works best for you for those different zones, those different
Yeah.
types of tasks, because there's timing and then there's those types of tasks as well. So when is best for you energetically as well as the timing. So that's a very high level tip.
No, no, but it's usual because that's what we discussed. We don't even think about it. Like you go with your business, you start at from 9, but you go to the job, you start at 9. At 9 you have the meeting with your boss, but maybe that's not the right time for you. Maybe it's a better timing to do. And do you advise people to have very scheduled times? That's actually a personal question for me. Because I write always at the beginning of the afternoons, but I want to maybe because people always say you have to be very scheduled and routine based. So is it better to be routine based, or can I say, for example, I want to write on Tuesday this morning, and then on Wednesday I'm going to do back in the afternoons?
Yeah, I think it really yeah, it depends on the person as well. And I'd say like men and women as well differently. Like looking at menstrual cycle awareness, which I'm really into at the moment, like and tracking your productivity with how it changes in the month for women, really valuable there. So some weeks, yeah, maybe the afternoon is better, and then in some it's the morning. But I think it's also like if your schedule is happening around kids or whatnot or other people, it still is a routine, like, and you can almost attach a bit of a ritual. So maybe the time is different, but you have a bit of a ritual that you sit down and then you're like, that helps your brain get into the zone. And
Yeah, yeah.
now we're writing, so maybe that ritual is always the same regardless of the time, just so
Mm.
that your brain goes, oh, okay, we're doing this now, like we're into this, so it becomes habitual. But yeah, if for some people it works to be very strict on the time, and other people it's just life doesn't allow for it, so it's finding those other ways of helping people to yeah, settle into what we're doing and focusing.
Yeah, actually,
Mm.
I think that's a great tip because I feel it's always very demanding when they say, oh, you have to have your routine, you have to do it every day at 8 a.m. But like you say, sometimes, I mean, I have a 3-year-old who is literally
Yeah.
knocking at the door now. So it can be very difficult to see which is the right time. So to say that you have that little ritual in the beginning to do, yeah, that's a great,
Yeah.
I think it's a great tip. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're
And
welcome.
maybe to finish, Christy, you can tell us a little bit more what you do, and if people have struggles with time management, how you can help them.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. So, yeah, I help people figure out how to get things done in a way that really suits them. So, I have a very tailored approach in my coaching of just like finding out how they work, what works best for them, and then figuring out those really tailored solutions that work for them specifically, because I have a lot in my toolkit that I can pull on, draw on, sorry. But yeah, it's it's not one size fits all, which I
Mm,
think we're kind of misled to think with time management as well. So I do it quite holistically. So looking at the whole life and looking at how we want to incorporate all the parts of our life. And as you say, like,
mm,
enjoying the time with your 2 year olds, you don't miss it. And then also growing a business and enjoying our creativity and having all of those elements come together. So my business is very much about that, stepping into someone else's shoes and figuring out what systems are best going to support them. And yeah, I've been going for about 7 years now. So I'm always surprised as to how different people use different tools and different things that are coming to light and the like. And yeah, I find it really interesting, the whole efficiency and effectiveness, and especially in this very fast-paced society that we find ourselves in
mm.
now. How do we claim that time to actually be creative, and put our foot down and go, I'm actually going to do this for myself, and it might take a while, and as your crew knows, like writing a book isn't an overnight thing, and I wonder how much people have difficulty with patience nowadays
Oh
of
yeah,
actually
yeah,
sitting and
yeah. It's not
con-
an easy venture.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and everyone's looking for that quick fix. Like I usually work
Mm.
with people in 12 sessions, and people are like, "Oh, can we do it in, like, do you do any less?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, it's kind of like going to the gym. You can't just go and do 12 push-ups and then you're done for life."
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. But especially, I guess after the 12 sessions, you're really set up. Like you have a better time management and efficiency and the whole thing. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's
because
that's
I'm
the aim.
yeah, I'm very into this as well, and I know how important it can be, to have those skills and tool set. But
Yeah.
then so and so
And
yes, sorry, I
oh,
was
sorry.
interrupting.
Oh, it's a lifestyle shift as well,
Mm,
because especially if you're unpicking a lot of people's habits that they've developed over, if I'm working with someone in their late 30s, that's a lot of time that they've put
mm,
into developing those habits to then unpick them and put in new habits that are going to serve them. It does take time, and yeah, it's an interesting world we live in, where it's all very fast, and you're like, oh,
mm.
some things can't speed up to that.
No, exactly. You're completely
Yeah.
right. And just to remind, so that you organize sessions as well once per month, but really focused on the time management, right?
Yeah. So I call my little group the monthly goal setting hour. We're meeting this Thursday, actually, 11:30 a.m. AEST time. Is that right?
Yes, that
I
is right. I think it's
think Melbourne, Australia time. Yeah, we dive into a little bit of like time management learning. So we embed a bit of a skill, and then we set a goal for the following month. And then it just gives that people that accountability to follow through on it, as well as not overloading them with
mm,
too much information. Yeah, so
okay.
that's my group.
For those of you who are interested, I'll put the link down this video, so feel free to sign up and join Christie on the time management.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, that is the end of our time. So thank you everyone for having attended. I mean, especially Christy. Was really nice to have you here, even though I put you on the spot. So our next session is on the 26th of October at 9 a.m. GMT +8. You can save your seat as well. There will be a link beneath this video. Again, I hope this was useful. If you have any other questions, you need a pep talk or anything, just let me know. I'm wishing you all a great day and see you soon. Bye bye.
All right.